Greetings, everyone. Hope all of you are having an absolutely fantastic day. Holy smokes. Larian Studios just dropped a truckload of information regarding Baldur's Gate 3. And I've got to say, I've been one of these people who is not on the BG3 hype wagon at all. I've done very little content for it, but this, I am there. Wow, I am absolutely psyched to play this game. So first and foremost, let me remind everyone, there is going to be a panel from hell next week, July 7th. Unfortunately, I'll be on call that day, so I'm not going to be able to live stream it, but definitely watch it. Based on the update provided today, there's going to be a ton of information. So let's start with the big doozy. Baldur's Gate 3 has actually been moved up a month, at least on the PC, and will release August 3rd. That's not a typo, released directly by Larian Studios. They don't specifically say it's because of Starfield, but come on, let's state the obvious. They've moved it back to ensure they're not competing directly with Starfield, and I gotta say, I'm one of those people who thinks that's a fantastic idea. I understand that, especially in my community, most of us are more excited about Baldur's Gate 3, and we feel like it's going to be the more stable game that usually Bethesda games require multiple patches and multiple mods before they're really in a state where you want to go through them. But the fact of the matter is, Starfield is going to be the bigger game. Like Bethesda games, they just take over the market. It just is what it is. And so I'm really happy that Larian Studios has decided to give this game the space to ensure that it's going to be able to succeed the way that it should. Now, unfortunately, it will not release on PS5 at the same time. As you can see here, they're not going to release it on that console until September 6th. They still have some work to do to get the game to run at 60 frames per second, and they don't want to sacrifice that level of quality for an arbitrary date. And again, I think this is a great move because even though I believe the whole discussion about 30 frames versus 60 frames per second is overblown, I absolutely do believe it would create a negative conversation regarding this game if it released at 30 frames per second. So it's probably the better move for them to just go ahead and wait and get that straightened out. Now, obviously, there is not a release date listed for Xbox, and they mentioned they are still having the obvious issues as far as trying to make the game work across all the different Xbox platforms, especially with the split screen. So that's going to take more time, and I would venture to say you should not expect the Xbox version to be out by September 6th. Unfortunately, it remains to be seen how long it's going to take for that to be available. They also do not have a release date for the Mac yet, but they do plan to release this game on the Mac at some point in time. So, once again, for those of us who play on PC, this is incredible news. I know many of us were worried about how we're going to choose between playing this or playing Starfield. Now, you don't have to worry about that at all. But that is not where the good news stops. They also talked about the level cap and have confirmed that it will go up to level 12, allowing you to get access to spells such as Planar Allies and Chain Lightning. And I'll be honest, I do understand that the lower level cap is consistent with D&D, that basically level 20 is godlike, and so it makes sense in this world that you can't reach those higher level numbers, but it's just weird to me playing a game that's 100 hours, 150 hours, and I only level up 12 times. So originally this level cap was only going to be 10, and that was part of what, turned me off from really being hyped about the game. But at the end of the day, I've kind of grown used to it from playing some of the other D&D related games like Solasta. So at least they've pushed it up to 12. I think that's a good number. Obviously, having access to Chain Lightning is going to be fantastic, so I'm looking forward to it. In addition to this, they have released the final list of races that will be available upon launch, and in the process confirmed that Dragonborn will be a part of the game, and they look sick. Absolutely sick and incredible. Wow. I'm actually a little irritated that none of the origin stories have a dragonborn, because I think it's going to cause me to have to wait that much longer before I can do a playthrough as one of these creatures. But man, they look incredible. Really, really well done. And they've also released half orcs, which they've confirmed can do some of the highest melee weapon damage in the game, dealing extra damage upon crits using triple the dice. And on top of that, they have released the Dorgar, the dwarves. They've released them as a sub race and confirmed that people who choose this particular race will have over 200 new dialogue responses. That's an insane amount of reactivity to the race that you choose. And it makes me really, really curious what kind of reactivity these other races are going to have. And so this sheet here lists all the races that are going to be available upon launch in the game. And as you can see, much, much larger than what was available in Divinity Original Sin 2. And I don't know about you, but I'm pretty damn happy. I'm pretty happy. I feel I've made the observation in other D&D related games that I've reviewed that I feel like the same races just get chosen over and over again, and that we don't get enough variety in who we can be. But to see Githyanki here, to see Dragonborn here, to see the Drow here, I am happy. I feel like there's a really, really good mix of the regular standard races that everybody has come to know and some different things that allow people to play and role play in a totally different way. Great stuff. Really happy about this. Now, in addition to this, they have also released the full list of classes and subclasses that will be in the game, and announced that Monk will be among them. And already, from the little bit of footage that has been provided, they look fantastic. So you can see the full list of launch classes here, and already it's absolutely massive. Plenty of different options for you to play around with. I personally am going to be starting with the Warlock because my first playthrough is going to be with Will, but you all know me. I'll probably be playing this game for about 2 or 3 years at least, and slowly but surely I'll make my way through the entire list. This gives you so much to work with. It looks absolutely fantastic. I am really, really impressed with what Larian Studios has done. Next up, they did announce a new origin character, Karlach, who you might recognize if you played through early access. She was the tiefling who had just recently escaped from the war between demons and devils. She's going to be a playable origin for us, and she is a barbarian. Larian also said that she is not the last origin story, that there's going to be more than 6, and you will have to check out the panel next week to get more information. Really exciting stuff. Now, in addition to the origin stories that you can play through, there are also companions that you can connect with. And they have confirmed that Halsin, Jaheira, Minx, and Minthara are all going to be companions in the game. It was also interesting to see them note that you will be able to use these companions after Act 1. So originally, they had talked about trying to lock you into a core group once you got through Act 1, but they decided against that and will basically allow you to mix and match your companions throughout the game. And in a final note that I absolutely love, they said that almost all of these companions will be romanceable. I am really, really pulling for a Minthara romance. I want to pair up her and Astarion in an absolutely pure evil run. Now, outside of all this, Larian did talk about the mechanics to some degree and said that they are going to be adding 37 possible feats for you to choose from as you level up, and that most of them will be completely new to the game at launch, and that there are going to be over 600 player spells and sub spells at launch. And they actually added a graph that shows some of the new spells that are going to come in 1.0. Fantastic stuff. You all know I'll comb through the entire list of all of them so you can know everything that's available. And then the final thing that they spoke about that I thought was interesting to note is that this is truly going to be a global release. So there are more than 2 million words in this particular game, and they have translated it into 13 different languages: English, French, German, Polish, Russian, simplified Chinese, traditional Chinese, Spanish, Spanish Latin America, Turkish, Portuguese, Brazil, Italian, and Ukrainian. And I've had multiple people reach out regarding other CRPGs where they felt like they really wanted a particular language and weren't able to get it. Seems like Larian Studios has done everything in their power to ensure that will not be a problem here. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Cannot wait to dive in. We are going to do a ton of content on this game when this releases. I hope all of you are excited about this as I am. I think we're in for a really wild ride. Hope all of you enjoyed this video. Take care.